Hey guys, so the big question on everyone's mind right now is, will IOTA survive this bear market? Yes, the great finance snap is coming to crypto just like 2018. Today we find out if IOTA can survive the bear market. Now let's start with a little bit of context. Back at IOTA's inception, before the Big Bang, the IOTA didn't take a pre-mine, which means they didn't give themselves millions of free tokens to prop up the foundation. Instead, if the IF member wanted tokens, they had to buy them with their own cold hard cash. This amounted to the IOTA Foundation getting around 10% of all tokens at the time. This context is important now because obviously the IF have to be self-sustainable. The most recent official statement on the IF's finances I could find is from Dom on his appearance on the Moonico podcast on the 21st of April 2022. Dom stated that the IF were funding the project in the main through the funding they received from the private sale of Assembly, selling the Treasury tokens and receiving grants. So let's first dive into the sale of Assembly. In this Reuters article where Dom was discussing the announcement of Assembly, he stated that the IF had received 18 million from the seed funding round and then 100 million to further develop applications on Assembly. These are the VCs who committed the 100 million to funding the developments. Now, a side point in relation to the Luna capitulation. I cross-referenced the investors invested in Assembly against the investors in Luna to make sure we weren't going to have any of the Assembly investors go bankrupt and decrease the IF's funds. Fortunately, I can't see much of an overlap. The only VC that I could see potentially affected is IOTA Ventures, if that's how you pronounce them, who I believe has invested in Assembly and Luna. I've checked IOTA Ventures Twitter and Medium articles where they are quite active and couldn't find any statement on UST and Luna, so we'll have to wait and see. However, overall I think we're fine to presume that the vast majority, if not all the funds, are fine and are still locked in. Okay, so the IF have 18 million to sustain itself from the Assembly private sale, but what about the Treasury sales? Well, on Dom's appearance on the Moonico podcast, he also stated that the IF had 35 million in IOTA tokens it can sell. He also confirmed in an earlier AMA on the 28th of the 3rd 22 that the IF do sell some tokens from the Treasury to fund the project. So is this true after the recent crash? Well, I did some digging and I found that the IF Treasury wallet address, you'll know that it currently has 35.29 TI at the time of recording. Now in USD, at the current price of 38 cents per IOTA, that is £13,410,200. So not quite 35 million, but we have to realise the price has dropped at least 70% in the last 4 months. This means when we add the Assembly private sale figure of 18 million and the figure of the Treasury, we get to around $30 million. Now, just to confirm the point on whether the IF is selling the Treasury funds, you can clearly see that sales were made on the 3rd of May 2022 for 1 TI and then a week later on the 10th of May for 1.2 TI. I can't see any transactions before that, as it seems the funds were moved to a new address on the 28th of April 2022, likely related to the start of staking. So contrary to popular belief, the IF are still selling some of their Treasury funds to fund the IOTA Foundation. Now, if IF were following recent trends and selling 1 TI on a weekly basis, then of course the funds will last less than a year. However, I don't think the IF are doing this. I can only see 2 actual withdrawals this year, so hopefully it's just sporadic withdrawals for whatever reason, which will make the funds last a lot longer. So let's dive into the grants that the IF also receives in relation to the research and development for various public bodies. I struggled to find exact numbers, as you'd imagine there are a lot of watertight NDAs stopping this sort of commercial agreement getting out into the public, but Dom did state in the IF AMA on the 28th of March 2022 that research and development grants account to 10% of the IF revenue, which equates to a few £1,000,000. Some examples I could find are on the screen right now. As you can see, there's various different grants from EBSI, Digit, Plus City Exchange, and various others. However, it's hard to know exactly how much the IF received because they only announced the overall grants and there's quite a few partners involved. Whilst the IF are still receiving new grants, Dom has recently confirmed that it's not their main strategy anymore to finance the IF, as it's just not scalable. Interestingly, the IF do give out grants themselves recently. They've given out $1 million to the Imperial College, a top university in the UK, to explore circular economy. They also awarded the University of Zurich Blockchain Center to research the IOTA consensus model. So I feel like this is a good sign. They wouldn't just be giving out millions of pounds, as we say in the UK, if they didn't have a pot to piss in. Another point to throw into the equation is potentially the up-and-coming community fund of 50 TI of unclaimed tokens. This is the build versus burn vote. At the current price, these tokens amount to $17 million. This should be even more once the price rises again. Once these tokens are unlocked, if the majority of the community vote for them, $17 million can be pumped into the ecosystem to help sustain devs during a long winter bear market. So this could be huge plus to the community if we can unlock these tokens quickly. So can the IF survive the bear market? Well, I'm not the IF's accountant and don't have the gift of reviewing the balance sheets, but from the information I've seen, let's say the bear market lasts for 1 to 2 years. I think the IF will survive with $20 to $30 million, even with 150 to 200 employees. Of course, if there is some sort of 5-year long recession that obliterates all risk on investments and IOTA price drops below 10% for multiple years, then we may be in trouble. But I think we'll be all facing a lot bigger issues than cryptocurrency investments if that was the case. There are also new revenue streams from Shimmer and Assembly coming online soon, which will also allow the IF to sell tokens from the Shimmer and Assembly to help sustain the IF in a year or two's time. Okay, one thing I won't do on this channel is pump out baseless hopium. I know you may say the IF is a foundation, but it is not a charity. It has employees and it has to keep the lights on somehow. I do want to see from the IF in terms of how they plan to grow commercially as a business, how they aim to bring in new revenue streams so it can bring in more employees and start really delivering on its lofty goals. So hopefully we see a lot more commercial stuff from the IF. I hope you found this useful, and if you do, please like and subscribe to make sure you do not miss out on all the information coming your way. Please check out my Stardust series where I explain the up and coming upgrade for non-developers. Peace.